All right, thank you. Thank you all for coming. My name is Tara Dorsey. I am a friend of one of the victims, family members here. Yesterday I got a call around 1 in the afternoon, and my friend was very distressed, and she said that her family members, children and family members were beat and pepper sprayed by the police. I was here within 5 minutes, a hot day, sat in my car with the air conditioner. I started watching, everybody just threw their phones at me. I was watching videos after videos after videos. Then I turned around and I seen the young man's back. And I wanted to cry. I held it in. And I said, well, I have to do something about this. So I started making phone calls. I called Dare, my friend Anisha from Dare. I called Pat, who is a reporter. We called some reporters, and by 3 o'clock we was down at Dare. Anisha thought I was bringing maybe 1 or 2 people. When she seen each one of these people walking with me, we moved into another room. In the beginning, we all started talking over each other. Tears were shed. Kids upset. Some kids were sitting there with just numb. Young man, I said, how do you feel? He's like, I don't know what to feel. But I'm gonna let the mom of a few of the victims speak first, who owns this house, lives in this house for many years. Taffy, please step up.
Hello, I'm the mother of 2 children, well, 1 adult child and 1 minor, well, 3 actually, that was assaulted, pepper sprayed by the Providence Police. The Providence Police came because of altercation that happened with neighbors that had already had it had already stopped. The issues had stopped. We were at our property, they were at their property. They lined up on the behind you guys like we were getting ready to go for war. We still stayed on our property line, didn't bother nobody when they attacked us. They attacked our children. They attacked everybody that was in this home. If you were recording, they attacked. They pepper sprayed. My son, who is 14 years old, Rashad, was protecting his cousin, Juan, from being beat by the police. They then pulled out their batons, beat him, 4, 5, 6 police officers at a time, beat him. I have my neighbors in houses saying, you know, why are you beating them? Why are you beating them? You know, trying. They pepper sprayed with my grandkids sitting on the porch. We're laughing. If you look in the videos, we're laughing. We ain't bothering the police. We didn't have no weapons. We didn't, you know, we wasn't aggressive towards them. We didn't go attack them. We sat right here on our property and bothered nobody. They came up in this yard. They dragged one of the young ladies out of the yard, not hitting nobody, not having no weapons, not touching no one. Slammed her against the paddy wagon, threw her in the paddy wagon. They had their knees in my daughter's face, beating and punching her, yelling at her that she was a man, as we were telling her she's not a man, she's a woman. They still didn't care. They still beat on her. They beat on my son who was ill, beat him with batons on his back. You have my neighbor saying, leave him alone, like don't touch him. They didn't care. They still continue to beat on them. They didn't just beat on these 4 individuals. They also pepper sprayed. My 1-year-old grandson, where is he? Where's Kasim? My 1-year-old grandson was sprayed. My 5-year-old granddaughter was pepper sprayed. And they looking right at him, pepper spraying him. Pepper spraying him. Didn't even care that there was children. There was no need for them to pepper spray anybody. We weren't aggressive. We weren't argumentative. We wasn't doing none of that when it came to the Providence Police. They wanted to be confrontational, and they stood in that back gate ready to attack for no reason whatsoever but to attack. And that's just what they did. They attacked. They threw our kids down on the ground. They needed them like they didn't matter. They didn't care. They did not care. They like I said, they beat my daughter. They slammed this baby's head into the trunk. They threw them in a vehicle, a hot vehicle at a 90-degree weather, after being maced or pepper sprayed or whatever you want to call what they use. After it's left them sitting there in the heat with no AC, doors closed. Minors with asthma left inside a hot vehicle like they were dogs. If we left our children or our dog in the car, we would have been arrested. They put our children in the back of a paddy wagon. Children, after being maced, left them there sitting in there for half an hour. Almost close to an hour, with no air, no water, no milk on their face for their eyes burning, her having asthma. They were beating on the van for help and got none. When they did get in the van, they didn't even, my daughter can tell you guys what happened once they were in the van, but they didn't care. They left them like they were not even dogs, because dogs have more compassion than that. They didn't even have compassion. They just did what they did and not be like, and that was that. They arrested then my daughter, my son, my nephew, and my niece to justify what they did to these children. When all the other adults, the parents were out here. The parents were out here. So if there was an issue, they could have addressed the parents. They didn't even, not once. As the parents tried to protect their kids, and we're yelling, they're minors, they said, so fucking what? Was their exact words. Excuse my language, but that's what they said. They didn't care. And they continued. As we, if I don't know how many of you got to see the video, but as we sat here, and nobody was still at a threat to them, as we were sitting here, they still continued to spray these children, spray everybody. They emptied out their spray cans and threw it on the ground and reloaded, basically. I mean, I know it's not a gun, but they emptied it and they reloaded it back onto my family and didn't even care. Children and all. They left. This young man was begging for medical attention. Didn't get medical attention. They sprayed the base in his mouth. My son, who was not here, they sprayed in his eyes. Directly in their eyes. They did not care. You know, the one lady, she's down on the ground, they still sprayed her and continued to spray her. These children was screaming, I'm burning. My son, my neighbor would tell you, my son went to go shield, like as my one son went to go shield his cousin, my other son went to go shield his twin. And as much as the cops was hitting on him and spraying him, he wasn't trying to let go of his brother because he wanted to protect his brother. He was afraid of what they might do to his brother. So he wouldn't let him go. He wouldn't let him go. And they still continue to beat and hit our children. So Zaire can probably give you guys more of what happened in the paddy wagon when they were in the paddy wagon than I can. Thank you.
Would you tell us your name, please?
My name is Taffy Moore.
Taffy?
Taffy, like the candy. Taffii. Moore.
Yeah, next we're going to have Zaire speak. He was also a victim last night. Brother Lynn.
Hello, my name is Zaire Moore.
How do you spell that?
Zaire, Z-Y-R-R-A-Y. Pretty, ain't it? Last name Moore, 2 O's. My name is Zaire Moore.
Moore.
Yep, Moore, just like her daughter. It was a pretty crazy situation, you know, just us trying to be protective of our young ones and our family. Just kind of, as you can see, they're taught for crowd control and they didn't do no such thing. They're ready to be aggressive and just trying to pretty much arrest everybody down to the kids. I had trying to let them know about my brother and their situation as they're being on them. I'm obviously trying to be protective and just let them know. I had got punched in the face by several officers as I'm trying to explain to them, like, you guys, I'm not resisting arrest. There's no reason for you guys to have your feet in my neck, on top of me, stuff like that. They put me inside the van, and as I'm inside the van, I still hear everything going on outside. I can't see. There was no lights. There was no air, and then I hear them putting my cousin and my other cousin in the van. And they're just crying. They can't see. They can't do any of that. And me being the because I'm trying to keep them calm, trying to sing music, do something, because it's everything they've been through and we've been through, it's a lot. So for them to want to protect and serve, what they're supposed to do. They didn't do anything like that. They had us in the back of a van for almost an hour. We're yelling, we're screaming. I'm online saying, whoever's on Sayles, just open the door. You don't even gotta turn on the AC. It's hot, just open the door. We leave a dog in the freaking car for 20 minutes. We're getting arrested. They had us in there for over an hour, yelling and screaming, just open the door. Open the door. I'm on live. Someone please open the door. You can see on the videos one of the officers just sitting in the back of the van as we're banging on it, just laughing and talking to each other and just conversing like we're not in the back of that van where our eyes burning. They didn't want to give us no medical attention. I was denied a phone call and all that. So it's a lot because these are my family. And I know if you guys' kids was out here on the street, you're going to do the same thing regardless if they got a badge or not. These are my brothers, my family, and I love them. So I'm going to do what I got to. So,
How old are you?
I'm 21.
I know some of you all read the article. They said there's going to be more videos released. I do want to mention that in one of the videos you can see an officer ripping off his body cam. You know, clearly ripping off his body cam. So it's just.
How many police officers were present?
Almost the whole force. They were lined up all against that fence. They took up the whole fence.
You said 15
Down there was more Linda. Hi, Linda. Do you know how many cop cars were out here that night?
15. 18.
18 police officers. Showing off, picking our little kids out. Your badge don't mean shit. I'm sorry, your badge don't mean shit. Take that badge off.
What do you think should happen?
The police initiated the riot.
Neighbor speaking.
What do you think should happen as a result?
They want you to come up here. They can't hear you.
Justice needs to be served. That's what happens. That's what happened. The police initiated the riot. They need to be prosecuted instead of prosecuting little kids.
All right, so Linda says that it was the police that initiated. There were 16 cop cars here. 18, I'm sorry. 18 cop cars here. And you asked what I think should happen? There's a sign. There's a sign that says accountability. You know, somebody has to be accountable for this.
So just to be clear, so what we see in the video is, right, the police are across the street. There's a group of people over here. They've been called for some kind of fight or disturbance. Somebody kind of walked out in the middle of the street, and that's kind of when the police came over. Can you just take us back to that moment and what actually happened right there? And
So he was actually walking down the street.
No, he came. Yeah, he came. But as you look in the video, he's just arguing with another child, as children do. They argue. I wouldn't say it wasn't even an argument. It was just words back and forth, as children do. He then also walked back. If you pay attention in the video, he walked back. He didn't say nothing to the cops. He never went towards the cops. He
Turned his back towards them.
and then that's when they came in and attacked. It wasn't nothing other than a couple of words between children that made them want to initiate.
so did they ever say, like, beforehand, if anybody comes out in the street, we're going to
No.
start arresting people
No.
or anything
No.
like that?
No,
No warning of them.
no, just lined up on just lined up across. That's it.
How old are the children in the argument?
From 1 to 17 that were affected by it.
No, I meant in that initial argument you were talking about.
2. They were 14?
14.
14.
17.
I saw
17, yeah, he was.
I saw what happened. So the young man with the curly hair, he stepped out into the street and he was arguing with the boy in the red house. Yeah. And so he just motioned to him. He just motioned to him to, how kids do. He was like, what? And did that little, I don't know, that's like a wrestling move or whatever. And so then the sergeant who was standing in front of my garage yelled to his police officers, get him. And 6 police officers ran after him, and he ran in the yard, and all of the mothers were like, leave my son, don't bother the son, he's just a teenager. And so the police couldn't get to him. So the sergeant ran through the back, came along the backside here, and pushed everybody out into the street. And so he actually pushed everyone into the other police. And so the police were acting like they were being attacked, but it was actually the sergeant who invaded everyone's personal space and pushed them into the street. And when he got pushed into the street, he was the target. And so 4 policemen came after him, and I saw the video just today, and I seen someone swing and hitting him at his back. And then that's when the twin came and tried to protect him and cover him by the police swinging at him. And then they started punching on him. And then when they punched him, they threw him into my fence and pushed him up against the fence and just started macing him in the face. And then that's what I told Taffy. I said, bring him in my yard so we can keep him from the police, so we can, you know, tend to his needs. But by that time, they arrested him. And then Taffy's daughter was trying to protect her brother because he does have a medical issue. And they beat her up for trying to protect. So no one attacked the police. The police actually crossed the plane, went into her yard, pushed everyone into the street, where then that's when they all initial body contact. So it was actually the sergeant, because he had a white shirt on.
And again, just to be clear, so there's a lot going on in the video once that...
There's a lot going on in the video, but the sergeant initiated the contact.
Again,
Are you familiar with these specific officers? Do you see them around this neighborhood? Do you know any of their names, or have you had any experience with them in the past? The specific officers involved, these 18 officers.
So for now, I guess they don't want to answer any more questions. So again, more videos will be released.
Taffy, that she would like to address and then have to have
Okay.
How many black and Latino officers were here that day?
2.
No, it wasn't most of them. There was
I don't think color should matter. I think it was a power issue, and it was more of they came out in force. They wanted something to happen. They being the police. Because who comes here with 18 cop cars?
Yeah, that's what I wonder. Why would they show up
They
with
came
so
here
many?
with 18 cop cars, and it was a bunch of half-naked kids because they had the hydrant open, so they were all jumping in the hydrant. So no one had shirts on. There was nothing concealed. There was nothing hidden about what they were doing. It was more about, we're coming here in force, and we're going to do something because we're not coming here for nothing. So I don't really think it had anything to do with color.
Is anybody here,
So
was anybody involved
again,
in the
we're not going to
initial call?
answer any more questions, but we are going to let Taffy say one more thing.
So we're demanding for the Providence Police to make a public apology and some firing to happen for those who initiated, the Providence Police who initiated. Some of these Providence Police officers are repeat offenders, where as though they are beating your children, our children. You know, they're just doing it and not being held accountable for it. So we're asking for them to be retrained, apologize, fired if they're repeat offenders. We're asking for, you know, to defund the police. We're asking for law enforcement bill of rights. We're asking to repeal and not reform. Thank you.
Thank you.